Hi guys, this is Wole Famurewa. I'm a tech entrepreneur and welcome to another episode of Tech RoundUp, your weekly opinion, views and analysis of the top tech events happening around the world with a focus on Nigeria. On Tech RoundUp today, we'll discuss the impact of technology on media and get the perspective of a business leader in the space. And we'll wrap up the episode with a recent story that telcos are now set to start charging for USSD sessions. Let's get started. In this episode, we'll take a deep dive into the media industry to see how technology and innovation are currently changing the landscape of businesses. From digitization to the explosion of freelance resources, the media industry is being impacted from almost every direction. To understand some of these disruptive trends, I sat down with a media expert a while back in Lagos. But before we see the chat with Wole Famurewa, let's discuss some of the key trends. 1. Mass digitization. Digital is replacing print and everything else. It is inevitable. The cost of technology continues to drop, and the devices used to digest media are getting more advanced and convenient. Just take a look at the new smartphones. The historical barrier to this transition, generational preference, convenience, ease of use, are slowly breaking down. 2. Freelance mania. With companies like Outsource.com, Upwork.com, Contently.com and others, finding freelance writers, photographers, editors, designers has never been easier. Companies managing a full bench of talent will continue to find it hard to compete with companies that are strategically using freelance talent. 3. Content. The radical increase in online content production is pretty obvious. The wave of new articles, videos, shows, and publication is becoming more difficult to keep up with. Additionally, the barrier for new media and companies are now very low, with plenty of distribution vehicles available for new entrants. It's only a matter of time before these new players will deliver the same high-quality content as the media giants. And 4. Video technology is rapidly advancing. Consumers of content are now looking for quick and easy ways to digest information, which has led to increasingly new demands for video-based delivery. Combining this with rapid progress of HD like 4K, 8K, and VR, there's now a huge opportunity for truly immersive content. And lastly, other trends like generational shifts and the influence of internet and social media are replacing the general direction of new media as we know it. Here is part of my interview with Wole Famurewa, a business anchor on CNBC Africa. So one of the most glaring impacts that technology has had on media is the emergence of social media and what can be done on social media. You gave the example of the US president and how he leverages Twitter to essentially engage the entire country on policies.
The world indeed,
on policies and things that, and stands of the United States on stuff, right? But I'm wondering, to folks in traditional media who have been doing this for hundreds of years, right? There's a structure. How is social media disruption, what kind of impact is it having on that industry? So for example, a good example is Wole Famurewa is interviewing Wole Famurewa. It's impact of technology, right? It's social media, and we're able to broadcast this to audience. Does that threaten you guys in any way, or are you guys embracing that reality that, you know, the world is changing?
I think you just have to embrace it. The things evolve. You know, the way business is done 10 years ago is not the way it's done today. And if you back up maybe another 30 or 40 years, it's also very different. I mean, the very common example is a company like Kodak and the traditional camera.
Yeah.
They've pretty much run out of business, if you ask me, because everyone has a camera on their cell phone now. So things change, and you simply have to adapt. In terms of it being a threat, I would say I won't really see it as a threat. I would see it more as just a reality. It's just my perspective. the world has changed. Social media is a reality, and it means that your business, whatever it is, also has to adapt to that.
Yeah.
Because the news and broadcast business really has to do with communicating and speaking to people and reporting to people. The fact that social media is also a community where people can speak to themselves really implies that virtually everyone can play in that space. So really the onus is on the traditional media people to up their game, to really emphasize what they have in terms of their quality, their ethics, and the standard of production. So as long as you can continue to elevate yourself in that way, I think broadcast media and whatever you're doing in that space will be relevant.
You can watch the full episode on Tech Roundup Talk, and this episode will be released on October 30th. And so our last story this week. Over the last weekend, MTN and other telcos announced that they will start to charge bank customers who use unstructured supplementary service data called USSD for banking services. And they will now have to pay 4 naira per 20 seconds or 12 naira per minute. Not even sure how they arrived at that pricing. In a bid to inform bank customers of the new charge, telecommunication companies have sent notifications to customers using their platform to access banking services. A message from MTN to their customers read, and I quote, "Yellow, as requested by your bank from October 21st, we will charge 4 naira per 20 seconds for USSD access to banking services. Thank you." This further moves the narrative that has been created over the past few months that system, government and service provider is just out there to get customers, especially those who have adopted technologies to improve their lives. With the new announcement, the implications are as follows. 1. Lip service to cashless Nigeria. This may hurt the overall success of the drive. 2. Decline in the growth of adoption of electronic and banking channels. And 3. A setback to financial inclusion drive with only 30% of mobile phones in Nigeria are smart. Please keep your comments and feedback coming on LinkedIn at Wole Famurewa, and remember to subscribe to our Tech Roundup YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And please look at the bottom of the screen for all our social media handles. Please follow, like, share, and join the conversation. Have a great weekend, guys, and see you all again next week. Tigure.